Hello, Hofstra fans, and welcome to the W. Mason Coach Report. I'm Stephen Gorchov. I'm joined by head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Stephen. Great week last week, and now we got a real challenge this week, so excited to talk about everything.
Yeah, it really was a great week last week, Coach. 2 games, 2 wins. We'll get to each individual game, but your overall assessment of last week, which improved your team to 21-4 overall and 11-1 in the Colonial Athletic Association.
Well, we held serve. You have to win at home, and John Beeline, a good buddy of mine, says you win all your home games and half your road games, and you had a really good year. So, as I said, we held serve. We won at home. We played well. Responded to the loss against Northeastern, and played well against ELON. Made some shots. I mean, we really had a night where everybody was really making some shots, which we welcome every night. And then a heck of a game against William & Mary, and proud of our guys for how we were down 10 in the second half, and once again kept our composure, found a way to win.
Yeah, then let's talk about the Elon game. Just really a dominating effort by your team against a team that you would say struggled with earlier this season, and just everything went right. It was almost similar to the Delaware game at home, where just everything went right for your team, everything kind of went wrong for the opponent, and it turns into a large margin of victory. Individually, who'd you like on that game that really you thought played well?
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this off the air. I mean, we've struggled here against Elon. The last 3 years, we lost last year. 2 years ago, we lost. 3 years ago, Wanya had to hit a buzzer beater to win the game. So they always play well here. But I guess you can't talk about anybody in that game without first talking about Tarik Smith, who had 7 threes in the first half, knocked down open shots. I think it was 7 in a row too.
Correct.
And then of course that loosened up everybody else and stretched their defense out a little bit. I mean, everybody's got to worry about Justin Wright and Elijah Pemberton. They got to respect the fact that DeJour makes plays for others. But now Tarik comes out and makes 7 threes in the first half, and Jaquil scored inside. Jaquil Taylor. It was a good team win.
How important? I mean, this Thursday, Saturday, you've talked about the difficulty of getting your team ready for that Saturday game of the week. How important was to get that large margin of victory so you could rest guys for, the Justin, DeJours, Tarik's for over 10 minutes in that second half?
Yeah, that was big. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we had to go the other way around with these two teams, where we had a triple overtime game against William & Mary on a Thursday night, then a 4-hour bus ride to Elon, and then we, sure enough, we're down 8 at halftime against Elon. So it can wear on you. It's part of why I just don't think it's healthy to play 2 games in 3 days. But I have a son that coaches at the University of Pennsylvania. They played 2 games in 2 days, and they're supposed to be the smartest people in the country, the Ivy League. So
you mentioned Tarik there, 7 threes in the first half. He'd kind of been in a little bit of a lull for a couple weeks. What did you see anything developing that you saw that coming, or what he just kind of broke out and it was when needed most?
Actually, the opposite. He wasn't making shots at practice, and Coach Mike Farley said, I'm going to grab Tarik and get some extra shots up here, and if that's what made the difference, then we're going to ask one of the assistants to grab a guy every day and get some shots with him. But at the end of the day, shooters got to shoot, and Tarik is the only guy that could help Tarik, just like every other guy. And to his credit, he had enough courage to take those open shots, knock them down, and once he realized the basket was getting big, keep shooting shots.
We'll get into the remarkable individual performance in a moment, but let's take Saturday now just as a whole. You go into a game that there's just lots of just varying things that are about that game. There's a big crowd coming. It's arguably the Hofstra and William & Mary is the biggest rivalry in this conference now. Did your guys and you kind of anticipate the day developing into what it did?
As much as it was talked about, we couldn't even imagine what a great day it was. For me, we've had some special days out here in this court behind us, and we clinched the regular season title with Wanya and Amin Tanksley, and had a great crowd here. That last home game against College of Charleston, first game of the year this year, was a sellout. But there was nothing like this past Saturday. It was everything. It was a sellout. It was a really good crowd. We've had some good crowds here where they didn't get as engaged. And again, I think we got to give a shout out to the student athletes, particularly our baseball team. 40 guys there in the front row, screaming like crazy, and I think they set the tone and got the crowd going a little bit. And I think it's neat. I mean, I even, quick little story. Justin Wright Foreman ran off during warm-ups, ran off the floor, and somebody said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I got to go get my practice jersey. One of the baseball players wants to wear it." So he ran in and got his practice jersey. One of the baseball players wore it, and it just felt good. Alums here, former players were here. Great to see them here, and it was a heck of a game.
So you get down in the game, you're down 10 points in the second half. Do you feel it's slipping away? And at what point did you say, I think we might be okay?
There was never a sense of panic. There wasn't a great, I can't lie, there wasn't a great feel. For example, we're down 4 at halftime. And was that what it was, 4 at halftime?
4 at halftime, they scored the first 5 points in the second half.
And we come out and stop them, come down, don't score, but steal the ball and miss the layup. They come down, score 5 points in a row, and I thought, oh boy. We needed that good start in the second half and didn't get it. But again, we kept our composure, great poise. Our guys, we have this will to win, and we have this refuse to lose mentality that I've been talking about. And some people talk about it, and some people live it, and our kids live it.
And now we'll get to it. Speaking of living it, I said to anybody who will listen, it was the most remarkable 20 minutes of basketball I've seen in my life. Justin Wright Foreman, 48 points in the game, 37 in the second half. Have you ever seen anything like what you witnessed in that second half?
I've never seen it in person. I mean, maybe we've looked at when James Harden score all the points he scores, he scores. But it's just an incredible performance. I don't think there were any easy buckets. I don't think there were the breakaway layups. There weren't. Amazing. He had to work and earn every point he got. He made tough shots. He made long shots. He was just incredible. And I've been lucky enough to be around some great scorers, some great shooters, but nobody did that. Nobody had that performance.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, there was the multiple corner threes with hands in his face, layups from almost behind the backboard. In a game where he ties the Hofstra scoring record, establishes a new CA scoring record, breaks 2,000 points, passes Speedy, it was almost like meant to be for everything always to happen at that one point, wasn't it?
So here's what kind of guy he is. And I said to the assistants beforehand, I said all those things you just said. Here's a perfect chance for a guy to be thinking too much, to press a little bit, to try too hard, to have too many distractions. Oh man, I need 19 to get to 2,000. Oh, I'm closing in on Speedy. Oh, all these things, and he answers the bell, and he just, when it gets tough out there, he gets tougher. And that's what the great ones do.
And then last note on Justin, today CA Player of the Week, 7th time, believed to be the most in the history of the league, and 7 is the most Player of the Week awards for any Hofstra player since at least 1994. Just remarkable.
Yeah, we're running out of words.
We are.
We're running out of words. But my challenge to him is listen, you've done all these things. You've rewritten the record books. You know what you haven't done? You haven't won a regular season championship yet. You haven't climbed up that ladder. You haven't cut down those nets, and all the individual stuff. You can put it aside now. There's not much more you can do. You've done it all. Let's make sure your team, and he's been a great leader this year. Let's make sure your team has a great finish.
Absolutely, Coach. Maybe the toughest road trip in the CA this week. You head to Charleston on Thursday, Wilmington on Saturday. Charleston 3rd place in the league right now. You're in 1st place. What are your thoughts heading into this, the second of 2 games this year against Charleston, who's obviously 2 huge players on their team?
Yeah, I think it is the toughest. The JMU trip's tough because it's physically grueling. I mean, it's a long but you can't fly. At least we can fly down here, but where we fly to is why it's hard. Charleston's a really tough place to play. Wilmington might be the toughest place in the league to play because they probably draw more fans than anybody, and 2 really, really good teams. But you know what? It might sound corny, but this is what our team needs right now. We need to because we have those 3 days in March. Hopefully it's 3 days, and it's going to be a tough environment. It's going to be 3 home games for Charleston. I mean, they get that. I mean, all this year they just know they're going to have the 3 home games in the tournament, which is great for them. But it's what we need. We need the tough environment. We need the challenge. We need the tough, the tough road swing where we can see if we can respond.
Well, Coach, wish you good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you, Stephen, and we're not too proud to accept any luck that comes our way. So,
well, good luck to the men's basketball team, and talk to you again next week, Coach. And thank you for joining us in the W. Mason Coach Report with head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich.
thanks.